I'm Erica from the Life Project, and today we're talking about how to take exams and stay sane. There are 3 key things I want to teach you today. The first thing is about using mind maps and memory strategies. The second, about planning your time in terms of your study plans. And the third, some tools and techniques for getting through the exam as successfully as possible. Firstly, I want you to get into mind maps. Mind maps are a great way to recollect information and, more importantly, to connect that information into a narrative in the way that you often need to do for an argument essay. What I'd like you to do is to go and find yourself some past papers. Choose a question that interests you. Do the reading around it, and then, from memory, design a mind map that summarises the key points and makes the narrative links. For those of you who haven't seen a mind map before, it starts off with a circle in the middle with the question that you're answering at hand. Out of that, you want to stick a few sprigs, and each of those sprigs will have one of the themes that addresses that issue. Out of those themes, you'll have sprigs again where you make the specific points that relate back to that question in the middle. Okay, study planning and revision planning. Now, there are a few important things around this. Firstly, have a look at your exam timetable because that's going to affect what you need to learn and when you need to learn it. For example, if you've got an exam very early on in the season, then you need to start prepping for that earlier than one that's perhaps 6 or 8 weeks later. So stagger your revision according to when your exams actually take place. The second thing is when you're devising a timetable for the day, it's very important that you put the hardest stuff first. Okay, so first thing in the morning when you're most fresh, choose the most challenging topics. When you choose those topics, look at your whole syllabus and divide it into themes or topic areas, and each slot is engaged with just one topic. So don't commit yourself to more activity than one specific area. For example, if you're studying Shakespeare and you're studying the sonnets, you might choose sonnets 1 to 10 as a segment of the time in your study plan. The third thing that's really important is to take breaks, and take breaks in ways that are fun and meaningful for you. Whether that means vegging out in front of the telly, playing around with your guitar, or calling a friend for a chat, make sure that you slot a good amount of time in to take that break. Everyone has different ways of remembering things. The mind maps are one technique, but while you're looking at your study breaks, there may be ways in which you can integrate your free time and your learning time in ways that work really well for you. For me, for example, I have a really good oral memory. I remember jingles and songs from adverts and lyrics for pointless things. So knowing that, what I did was I took my mind maps and all of my accumulated study information and I repeated it to myself on a dictaphone. I then played it back to myself when I was doing the hoovering or cycling to work or on my way somewhere with friends, so that my subconscious memory could take in myself talking to myself about a particular topic. And for me, that worked really well. You might be more of a visual person, so you might use the mind maps or even a sort of collage to help you to remember particular pieces of information. Or you may be more kinesthetic, so you're someone who needs to make associations between physical movement and activating particular memories. So explore if you can find ways to make a memory or a theme meaningful to you using a particular physical gesture or action to embed it. Exam technique. Now, when you turn up on the day, there are a few things that are really going to help you to make the most of the opportunity to do well. You've put in all this work, you've looked over your mind maps, you've completed your study plan, and now you really want to make sure that all the information you've gathered gets shared in an effective way. Here are 3 key skills for making sure that you pass your exam. Number 1 is timing. If, for example, you have 2 hours to write 3 essays, that means you have roughly 40 minutes for each essay. If you overspend that time, you could fail the exam You might produce an amazing first essay that took you an hour and a half, and then only have 30 minutes to scribble some things down for the other two. So you've got to be really strict with yourself at the beginning, work out what the timing is, divide it up, and stick to it. Secondly, in terms of planning the actual essays or answers, go through the whole paper, and if it's, say, a maths exam, answer the ones you know are easy, okay? Go from start to finish, complete everything that you already know the answer to. Don't get stuck on anything you don't know the answer to. Just get those quick wins in as soon as you can. Thirdly, for narrative and essay structure, 2 useful things. 1, spend 5 minutes out of the total time you've got available planning your answer, using the mind map structure that we talked about earlier or any other system that works for you. Consider what's my argument, where do I want to get to, and then what points from your vast amounts of information are going to get you there. And last thing, as you're writing, you may come up with other good ideas, arguments, examples, things you want to include. Scribble those down in the margin on the side. That will enable you to keep going, not lose your flow of your narrative, but also to capture the great ideas that are going to come to you as you start to stimulate your thinking and get going. I taught myself all these techniques when I was studying for my exams, both my A-levels and my university finals. So I'm sharing them with you because I know that they work. Good luck.